Hello. So thank you for being here. I'd like to introduce you to Ali and Carlos.
Thank you.
So first we're going to start with Ali. So Ali Niknam, this is your third company we're going to talk about. You started when you were 16 and then 21, where you launched the biggest web hosting and domain company in Netherlands. And now you launch BUNQ. Can you tell us about BUNQ?
Yes, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for being here. I hope everyone can hear me because it's a little bit noisy out back. If you can't hear me, just wave and I'll try to speak a bit louder. So we launched BUNQ a couple of years ago amidst of the financial crisis because we felt that people deserved the freedom to choose for a new type of bank. And to us, it was very much so that all the banks, whether it's BNP Paribas or Société Générale or ING or ABN, are very much similar. The products are similar, the people are similar, the feel of the product and the interaction is similar. And we wanted to do something that is totally different so that users could finally have a choice to go for something different.
And what makes BUNQ so attractive for millennials?
Sorry?
What makes BUNQ so attractive for millennials?
Yes, I think there's many things that makes BUNQ attractive for millennials. We're mobile only, so you don't need to visit the bank branch, you don't need to fill in paperwork. The design is absolutely beautiful. We spend a lot of time on the design on the UX. We're not just some bankers that figured that we need a mobile app. The mobile app is the bank, and so it deserves our entire focus. And I think thirdly, and very importantly, that BUNQ has some values that totally align with today's mindset and with the mindset that millennials totally embrace. A mindset of transparency, a mindset of privacy, and a mindset of an ethical and social awareness.
Thank you, Ali. So now I would love to introduce you to Carlos. So Carlos, you are the founder and CEO of BADI.
Yes.
You are 29 and you are from Barcelona.
Correct.
And you are one of the 30 under 30 by Forbes. So, Carlos, what is your mission company and your actuality?
Yeah, so to define our mission in a simple sentence, we say that we create space in a crowded world. So how we do that and why we do that? We saw that there is a global trend where there's more and more people that they want to live in the city center. So we know that in the next 50, 100 years, there's going to be 2 times more people on Earth, but Earth is not going to become bigger. So what is going to happen is that there's not enough space for everyone, and we need to start sharing spaces. There's 2 options. Either we colonize Mars, which is something that maybe in the future will happen, or the second option is that we start sharing spaces that we already have. So BADI is a room rental marketplace that focuses on exactly flat sharing and co-living. And yeah, that's our mission. It's just unlock more supply in every city and then improve, of course, the quality of life of the people by improving the user experience in the room rental market.
And why do you rent rooms instead of entire apartment? Is this something to do with UX?
Yeah, so UX, I mean, user experience, I think could be something that it's attached to design and to many other things. So in our case, as we think there's going to be like 2 times more people on the planet, more and more people they want to live in the city center, and the rental prices are going up. So flat sharing is going to be the only solution, and we prefer rather than so there's another option, which is like taking a flat and divide that flat into 3 different flats, right? The user experience of that, it's horrible, right? We believe and we prefer on a single flat with 1, 2, 3, 4 living units, which means rooms, with shared expenses, shared spaces, which can be like living rooms, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. So, Ali, what makes BUNQ so different from your competitors, such as N26 and others?
Well, first of all, I think N26, Revolut, all the news guys are doing a tremendous job. I mean, it's really, really hard to compete with the old banks. So I would like to get that out first. I think we all differ from the old banks in the sense that we are truly here to make a difference. Then when you look at these companies, each of them have their own flavor. They focus on different things. For instance, BUNQ really focuses on creating an app that you truly love to use. And we spend so much time and effort in making the app beautiful and making the interaction very easy that people are even willing to pay for it. So where you see that our competitors are more focused on getting huge numbers of users that just use the app, we are more focused on creating an app that's actually getting used.
And why did you decide to be mobile only, no desktop, no?
Well, quite frankly, just in the preparation before we came up, you saw me on my mobile phone the entire time. Everyone around me is on their mobile phone around the time. I think if you start a company today, it just makes sense to focus on the platform that's used most.
Okay. So you said that if you build great product, then people will come. And can you give us some of your inspiration?
Yes. So I had this idea starting from my previous companies, Trans IP, where we really focused on design and a great product as well. And what we notice is that every time when we have a product that people really love to use, more than 50% of the new users comes through word of mouth. And today, over 50% of BUNQ's new users come through word of mouth. And I think that's an amazing achievement.
Thank you, Ed. So Carlos, you reach out almost 2 million users. And currently you are experiencing a 250% growth. So what is UX for you? You little describe, but can you go deeper? And how do you think UX in that situation is a key of your growth?
So, I mean, I think define like user experience, it's pretty broader. I think here we are more talking about UX design. I think that's the most challenging thing, mix design with a good user experience. So, for example, you can be an architect and you can create like a super amazing garden. But then after 1 month, you see that the people is walking the other way around, right? It's not going through the path you design. So it's just trying to, the challenge is trying to design beautiful products, but at the same time, focus on the user to really try to see how they are going to use your product. So how we use UX design to compete against the bigger players in the real estate market. So the biggest real estate players in this market are classified sites. And classifieds, they haven't changed in the last like 10 years. It's completely obsolete, the user experience. So what we are doing is to improve the user experience by adding a social aspect. We verify profiles. Each tenant comes with pictures, with additional information. Then each flat comes with the people who lives in the flat, with specific information. The flats and the rooms are verified. And then the connection, it's easier because we use machine learning to connect the supply with the demand. So for example, if I'm a tenant, I'm a student of 20 years old, BADI is going to put in front of me because BADI knows the rooms that can match with my profile in any specific area.
And can you give us some quick wins and results you had due to UX change, for example?
Yeah. So like the biggest one was when we launched the recommendation system for listers. So that means that if you are someone who have an empty room and you post a room in BADI, you don't even have to wait to receive rental requests from candidates. You start receiving recommendations that we make based on your criteria, the information that you gave us, and are people that are looking at that exact moment in that exact area and that can match with your profile. So since we launched this feature, our rental requests were like multiplied by 2. So it was crazy in just 1 month. So we launched the recommendation system. We had like 1 million rental requests per month, and then just 1 month right after we had like 2 million. And then we are just right now improving the recommendation system based on bookings and transactions, etc.
Thank you. So Ali, what are your sources of input in order to express the UX?
Yes, so when you want to design a great UX, when you want to have that intuitive feeling to your product, I think at BUNQ at least we use 3 things. First of all, we look at the data, because what people say and what people do are often not the same thing. So we always look at the data. That's the first thing. The second thing is we actually listen to our users. We really love listening to our users. We have a forum, it's on together.bunq.com, and many users share their experiences and their wishes and their improvements there, and we always go through it to understand what's on our users' minds. And then thirdly, which is also very special, we come up with great stuff ourselves. We just build a product that we would like to use ourselves. So using those 3 inputs, we try to come up with great improvements, implement them really quickly. We love MVPing. We release a new version every week. Then we look at the data to see whether things actually got better, whether features got used more, whether people love the new stuff, whether NPS goes up, and those kinds of things.
And based on your experience, would you like to share some advice of how you can interpret the user experience of the customer?
Yes, it's actually a huge paradox, because we all know we should listen to our users or to our customers, right? But I think the paradox is this: you should listen to your users, but don't do what they say. We all know the old Henry Ford paradigm: if I would have listened to people, I would have built faster horses. But I think that's taking a very literal approach. If you listen to your users and understand their deeper desire and their true wishes, then you can start building the stuff they really want, such as cars.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
Carlos, you said that your main success key factor has been to implement a social component using AI while offering the slickest UX ever. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I think, as I mentioned, and that is happening in not only in the real estate market, of course, also in the banking sector, but in the real estate market, the real estate market is one of the biggest markets. Like, everyone is renting a place, living in a place, right? And you see that on each country and big city, there's these traditional classifieds. So improve the user experience of traditional classifieds is not that difficult. I mean, there's like 2 things you need to do, right? So we started with the more basic stuff. It's like, okay, I'm going to see information about the flat. I'm going to see information about the future tenants. It has to be verified, that information. It has to be information that I really want to see. And then the connection has to be fast. So how to improve the connection is just, instead of making phone calls and then just posting a flat and then receive like 100 phone calls the next day, it's just I'm going to make a system where I can do a screening process and then just receive the candidates and then just accept or reject and then chat directly. So we have integrated chat, we add the social aspect, and then we use machine learning to match better the supply and demand. So I think that's the basic 3 things that we started doing. I always divide in 3 phases the user experience of someone who wants to rent or buy a flat, which is connection between supply and demand. The second phase is the transaction phase. So right now, everything we do is to offering the best booking service with a scroll payment system, insurance, etc. And then the third phase, it's the services or post-transaction services. And then that phase is just huge. Everything that you can offer with just one simple click that can improve the user experience. And that's something that will come in future months.
Thank you, Carlos. I have a question from someone. Are you spreading across Europe, or will you focus mainly on the French market? I have seen a few offers in Hungary and Czech Republic as well.
Yeah, so we started in Spain, first in Barcelona, then Madrid, then we spread all over Spain, then we focused on London, and then we launched in Paris, in Rome, and then we're about to launch in Berlin, and eventually we'll launch in additional cities like Amsterdam, Dublin, etc. So the idea is to be in every supply-constrained city, which usually are the cities that have more population. And then rental price go up, etc. So BADI is just the solution to that problem. About having listings in Hungary, maybe in Peru, in Mexico, even in Sydney, anyone can download BADI anywhere in the world. So if you go to the map and you zoom out, you will see listings everywhere. We don't say we are in 160 countries because that's not true. But organically, we are seeing growth in terms of listings and rental requests in many cities.
Thank you, Carlos. Ali, do you consider your collaborators as users to improve your organization and business?
Yes, I very much believe that our users are driving our growth and are driving our product to get better. And I think one of the things that makes BUNQ special is that we try to be a partner for our users, whereas traditional banks are more your adversary. I don't want to, but we try to be on the user side of things. And it's always great to see how happy users are when we actually listen to their wishes and build the things they want to.
So, Carlos, knowing millennials are getting used and only accept a perfect UX right now in any kind of product or services, what is the future of UX in your opinion?
I don't think I have a futuristic vision, but I think, and that's what I see in the real estate market and then in the rest of the markets, I think, and if I can describe it in 2 words, will be self-service solutions. So, for example, in the travel market, we were used to go to an agency. Right now, we are used to go to Airbnb and do everything by yourselves because we have all the tools we need within just one simple click, right? So with BADI it's the same. We want you to just, if you have one entire flat, you want to rent it by rooms, you have 100 flats, or you are a real estate investor, you just go to the platform, you upload all the rooms, we take all the information, all the data, we match you with the right tenants, you press a button, every financial aspect is set and done. Price is already set based on market needs, and then you can, users can book it online. So everything you don't need to go to an agency. So I think the future, it's a future where we eradicate intermediaries. So no intermediaries. Everyone can just go for self-service solutions based on technology.
Thank you. So I have the same question of what is the future of UX for you, Elya, and then we'll answer the question there.
Yeah. The future of UX is whatever makes a product intuitive for a user. So we used to have these big desktop screens. That was the best UX we had 10 years ago. Then it became mobile, and now it's mobile only. And if you look at the developments over the past couple of months, you can see that voice is starting to get traction. Maybe someday we will have mind control. I don't know. I think, the screen is just a screen and voice is just a voice. The essence of great UX is having an intuitive interaction with whatever it is you're trying to do. And the rest is just technology making that possible.
Thank you. So, Ali, at what point, while building the use cases and finding the product market fit, did you decide it's the right time to charge customer?
Thank you for a great question. I think right from the start, because these days it's very easy for everyone to get venture capital money and just put something out there for free. But at BUNQ, rather than spreading something for nothing, we elected to choose and to build something that people actually value and something that they really want to pay for. Now, the interesting thing is, there we made a change based on user interaction, because at the early days, we had a usage-based model. So if you had multiple bank accounts, you paid a small fee per bank account. If you did certain type of transactions, you paid a small fee. And we actually noticed, based on the data, that about 27% of all user questions was about billing. And so based on that feedback, we greatly simplified the charging to a fixed fee per month And now I believe about 1% of all the questions is about billing.
Thank you. So, Carlos, is designing UX for millennials different from designing UX for the older generation? And if yes, what the difference? It's for both of you, but let's start with Carlos.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. Probably this is too aggressive, but I usually give that example for my team to understand. If we are going to launch a new feature, if my grandmother doesn't understand how to use it, it means that it's not good enough. So I mean, I think the UX or new features have to be developed on launch on a way that everyone can understand how to use it. That's good UX. But what we need to understand is that millennials, they are used to like the slickest user experience ever, because they have seen what has been going on in the last 5-10 years. And then usually, older generation, what they want is something more functional. So I think it has to be the same UX, the same design, but we need to know that, for example, millennials, they will probably look for something, I mean, they will look more into the details, 100%.
Thank you. So we have 4 more minutes, so I'm going to ask the 4 questions. How can we use UX design in a company that evolve really fast? And how can we take time for or without slowing our transformation in a financial market?
Okay, that's a huge question. Do you mind if I answer the previous one? Because I really liked it.
Yes.
I think what makes today so very special is that people are unique. If I look in the room today, I see all kinds of different people, young, old, different genders, probably different background. And I think what makes UX design great, whether it's young or old, is that you can tune into a person's need and make a UX design that they feel comfortable with. And now I can go through some generics. For instance, German people really love to read everything. They will read every word on the website and in the thing. They love manuals. Dutch people don't care. They just try to push buttons and see what happens. French people love to ask how stuff works. And so I think understanding the user's needs and how you can communicate with them in an intuitive way is the best way for UX design. Now, if I have to answer this question, then I would say it's not just UX design that needs to evolve really fast. The company needs to be really fast. The quicker you are in getting adjustments in your product, whether they're UX, whether it's new features, whether it's whatever else out there, based on the input, the data you're getting, the more successful you will be over the longer term. That's why at BUNQ we release a new version every week.
Thank you, Elya. You kind of answer about the cultural difference now, so I'm going to ask Carlos. Do you see the need of different UX when targeting different markets or countries? How do you work on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you answer also that question. So I think, yeah, all the markets, and also, like, if I have to talk about the real estate market, right? So you have to, for example, you go to London and you see that the market in London is probably the most like professionalized market. So there are more professionals, and usually professionals, they have different UX needs that, for example, a particular, right? That it's not a professional, they don't know some stuff about the rental market, about legal, so you need to prepare your product, in our case, for each city needs. Or for example, Spain is less professionalized market, and most listings or most listers are usually landlords living in the flat or landlords living out the flat, are not professionals. So you have to go do a deeply analysis of how each segment of your market looks like, and then probably design different. So, for example, in this case, that's why we work with squads. Each, like, we have like listers squad, we have seekers squad, because each segment, it's completely different and wants completely different things. So I think it's.
Thank you. Ali and Carlos told me that you can definitely come and talk to them at the end of the session. So I will just ask the last question and the free question there. You can ask them after. What is your main challenge you have to face right now in terms of UX and you would like to resolve? Ali. Carlo.
I think it's really difficult to tune in the UX design based on all the different people you have in an efficient way so that it stays maintainable over a longer period of time. Cracking that challenge is going to be fundamental going forward.
Carlos?
Yeah, in our case, I think it's difficult sometimes to focus on growth and also on UX design. Because sometimes for growth, you need to be more functional, more data-driven, and I think for UX design, you'll be more data-informed, and probably then create some new stuff, right? So it's difficult because you want to create new stuff, you want to innovate, but then you are growing so fast and you need to grow fast. Because in our case, we have raising money from venture capital, so you need to go fast, right? So I think that's the biggest challenge we have right now, which is mix focus on a great design, focus on the details, and then also focus on growth.
Last word. Carlos, is there something you would like to add? Or that?
Well, I know. I think we are talking about UX design. Just saying, I'm not a designer, right? I'm not a developer. I always say that I'm not specifically good at anything, but what I know is that I like the details, and I think the design and the details is how you sell everything. How we look is design, how we dress is design, and I think it's something. It's really important when you're creating a product, a service, whatever you do. The image, the design, it's something that expresses what you think, the values, etc. And I think it's pretty important. So yeah, just focus on the little details because people care about them.
Thank you. Ali?
Well, I would like to ask everyone present to download BUNQ, sign up. It will only take you 5 minutes. Try it out, and please help us to get better by giving us any tips you have. Please share them with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Carlos.